So it's 2007, and I'm sitting in a classroom in England. It's not the first class of graduate school, but it's towards the beginning. And the professor, brilliant guy, walks in, sits down next to the piano, takes a long pause and says, if I play an A right now on the piano or with whatever instrument, or I sing it or whatever, if I make the sound of an A, does it mean anything? And there was kind of a long pause, and I looked around, and the first thought that I had, which was strange, and it probably says something about me, but my first thought was, can he do this? Can he get away? Is this happening? It struck me as, on the one hand, unprepared, and on the other hand, a reflection of a way that someone thinks, which I find very interesting. What was more interesting to me than that question was that for 2 hours we talked about it. And what do you think? If I play an A or sing you an A, does it mean anything? I guess it depends on the context, doesn't it? I don't want to rehash the argument here, or the discussion. I should say, not argument. But, I mean, maybe I should. What happens if you play a note or sing a pitch or whatever? It depends on the context, right? Let's imagine that I've got a piano concert. I invite you to it. Here's my piano recital. It's coming up next Tuesday. Old chap, would you mind joining me? And you come in, you sit down, packed house, of course, and I bow and come out and in the penguin suit and all that, and I sit down at the piano and I think about it for a while, and when I'm ready, I finally play the A. Now me, I would play it softly. That's how I am. I'm good at touch, that kind of thing, like the soft touch. I mean, fast pieces, some people are good at those, not my thing. But I would take my time and I would play it. Boom. I don't know if that's an A. Those of you with perfect pitch are annoyed right now. And then I let it ring for as long as it would sustain itself. And then I get up, I bow, hopefully people applaud, some people will boo, others will throw chairs and shoes at me. And then I leave, and that's it. Now, doesn't that mean something different than if I just sort of go, means something different, right? I mean, this is obvious, I think, but the whole thing is fascinating to me because it's not about the pitch, and it's not about the actual frequency hitting your ears, or the communication, or the fact that it's happened. It's the way that it's happening, isn't it? Like a presentation. If you hand somebody a delicious cookie with the, like the Hershey's Kisses in the middle, I don't know what they call those, kiss cookies. If you just hand it to them, say, hey, take this, I don't want it, I've had 4. But if you make like an ordeal out of it, you light some candles, and you put it on a nice little plate, and you hand it to someone and go, I want you to have this. Big difference, right? So, does it mean anything if you play an A? I think it can. I don't know that it will always mean something. But here's another question. To the pitch, what about from the pitch's perspective? Does it mean anything then? I don't know. We will never know the answer to that question, right? Anyway, one of the things that I loved about that experience was that, sorry, there are puppies like behind you, like over here, and I'm trying really hard not to look at them because there's 2 of them. Been thinking about dogs a lot lately, but I don't want to digress. But one of the things I loved about this is that it sort of initiated me into a structure or a system that thought of things differently. I remember having a dinner party once with other graduate students, and the other North American students, I think it was the only American from the U.S., and there were a few Canadians. And I remember saying, like, leaning into one of them, sort of just having a conversation, saying, like, do you think this is strange that everything's kind of like, it's almost like the Monty Python skit where they're playing soccer on the pitch with the philosophers, like Nietzsche's thinking, like, and there are the balls laying there, and they're kind of wandering around and going, like, should I kick this? What does it mean to kick? And I sort of asked her that question, thinking, what's happening here? Are we getting the best education possible, or are we getting completely scammed? And I remember she said something like, well, I don't know the answer to your question, Troy, but I will say this: in North America, it wouldn't fly. I don't know if that's true. I agreed with her at the time, and I think that it is true. I think it would fly in a philosophy department, but I don't know that you can't, obviously, if somebody's paying a medical tuition, you're studying to be a doctor, you can't just go in and go, what is a lung anyway? They kind of want to get down to it. You have, like, science and facts, like, you have to do those things. But for an arts, something that's more subjective, I think you can get away with it, and I think they did get away with it, and I still think it's one of the best things I've ever done. So I'm happy that it was gotten away with on me. At arthouse.radio, I'm at Spaces with Lights. If you have the means, patreon.com/arthouseradio to support the show. Tough times, folks. You want things like this to exist? How did you get through the pandemic? They'll say at the end of the pandemic, and you go, well, I watched movies and TV, and I read books, and I listened to music, and someone go, but did you pay for those things? And they'll say, yes, of course, I paid. Yes, of course, but there are more direct ways of doing it. Like, this is not a podcast on Netflix. This is not a podcast on sort of a network where they give salaried individuals a paycheck. So I come to you directly to ask for your support if you can. And if you can't, I'm just happy that you're here with me sharing this experience on Earth. Year Earth 2020. I hope you're okay. All right.